Hey everybody, let's go ahead and do the inked version of the jeans that we did last week. So I'm going to just review the steps for inking. Hopefully this is helpful. It's really the same steps each time. I've got my finished pencil flats here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on my light box. And I'm going to put a clean piece of marker paper on top, and I'll just go ahead and tape those to each other so that they don't move on me. One quick reminder, it's very, very easy to do this upside down by accident. So be careful about that. That would be weird because you'd end up with the fly and the coin pocket and things on the wrong side. So make sure your flats are the correct side up before you start. Now, all the inked flats that you're doing in this class, you're going to hang on to those because those will get, usually what people decide to do is compile those all together on a couple of pages in their portfolio. And that will be a really nice example of your knowledge of technical flats, because we've done quite a few already, and we're going to do just a couple more types of garments so that you can really show your knowledge here. I'm also considering maybe having an extra credit assignment or two of doing some additional garments for flats. So something I'm thinking about, if that's a good idea. If you think it's a good idea, let me know. All right, I've got my pens, and just to review, the 05, my thick pen is, making sure I'm in the frame. So my 05 is for the silhouette. Okay, just the outline. My 02 is for my seams. And other internal details as well. And then my little baby, oops, where did I put it? My little delicate 005 is for my stitching. Okay, and other little tiny details like ribbing. So I'm going to start out with my 05, and I'm going to work my way around the silhouette of this garment. Now, these are pretty tall pants, right? So we're going to need to make a nice smooth line all the way up. This is where you really need to practice starting and stopping so that you can do it smoothly. I like to push the pen away from me. That just feels the most natural to me. But you'll need to sort of figure out what works for you. And I'm just going to try to stop and start and stop and start and work my way all the way around. Okay. And let's see here. Oh, I already wobbled. Okay, do your best here, guys, to do the entire thing without making a mistake. Gosh, since I just barely started, that's gonna bug me. I'm gonna go ahead and do it again. Do your best to get through this without making any mistakes. If you just have one tiny little boo-boo and they're basically done, otherwise, it is not the end of the world to put the tiniest bit of white gel pen on them, but I don't know, don't say I said that. But I'll pretend I don't see it, even though I'll probably, I don't know, in the photos, I don't know if I'd see it, but I in person for sure I notice if people try to cover up their mistakes with the white. But I get it. Like if it's just one little thing, that I'm not bothered by that. But if you don't do them generally correct or neat, we do need to redo them, okay? So you are most likely not going to get your inking perfect the first time because we're still pretty new at this. Unless you naturally have a very smooth hand and are really comfortable with this kind of precision work, don't be surprised if it takes you 2 or 3 tries before you get a flat that you're happy with. Okay, that's just kind of part of the process. So I'm going to work my way down. I want to at least finish the front view for you guys so that you just have it in case you want to reference it. And then maybe, I don't know, we'll see how long this video goes. Maybe I will try to do the back view as well. I'm noticing that any videos that are longer than about 12, 13 minutes are more difficult to upload. So we'll see. We'll see how we do here. Here I go right down her leg, all the way to the ankle, and then down the other side as well. If you can kind of get into a groove with this, I do find it pretty satisfying and kind of pleasant in a way. It's a little bit zen. So, but you do need to be focused. Okay, now for my little distressing on the bottom, I will actually draw that in maybe just a little bit like, maybe just a little bit like that. Okay, not too much, but just a little something so that we know that it's a raw edge. And you know, we can annotate it as well. I could say raw hem. Okay. All right, let's pick up our O2. Oops. Let's pick up our O2 and let's do some of the internal details. So I'm done with the O5. That's all I use it for, is the silhouette of the front and the silhouette of the back. And now I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get the internal details. This is where, if your pencil lines were really clear and really crisp and kind of dark, this whole process becomes a lot easier. If your pencil lines were a little bit messy or not dark enough or not very clear, then this process is a lot more difficult. I'm doing the belt loops first before the waistband because I don't want the dreaded transparent belt loops where you can see right through it. Okay, let me put my waistband in here. Just like that. Just like that. All right, and then my back waistband, I can just barely get a little peek of it in there. These little tags I'm going to do with an O2, although you could do them with an 005, I think, if you wanted to. Okay, now let me come in here. So the things that are non-negotiable would be the very outermost line. We definitely want that to be heavier. That is really nice because it pops it off the frame. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my tracing paper is wiggling on me. I'm going to put another little piece of tape right there just to hold it in place. Okay, let me get a little bit more with my O2. So I'm going to do my side seams and I'm going to do my center front right there. I'm going to draw my button. I'm going to put my side seam and then I'm going to put my inseams. Oh, I taped it a little crooked. Maybe I traced it a little crooked. Okay. All right, here we go up the side. Now, as you're putting a side seam next to the silhouette edge, it should be very clear. It should be very clear that one line is thicker than the other. Okay, this is really a good test right here of whether you're using your pens nicely to see that one line is thicker than the other. And it's that silhouette edge that needs to be thicker. And this out seam is, oh, see, that was just a little messier than I wanted. Okay, let me focus. There we go. Okay. It's hard to talk and do this. Let me see if I can get this pocket edge. Okay. And then I've got the yoke right there. And then on the other side, the same details. So I've got this nice long out seam. Oh, let me do the inseam actually. So I've got an inseam coming all the way up. If you feel that you're having trouble making your lines look, see guys, when I talk and I try to do this, it's not ideal. If you're finding that your pen lines don't look different enough, practice just drawing lines. Practice using these pens and drawing lines until you kind of get the hang of it. Okay, let me at least get the stitching and everything on this side so you can see it. I'm switching to my 005. And I'm going to go ahead and put my stitching on my fly zipper. And this is where, if you can't see, because my pencil is just a bit faded on here, sometimes I have to peek underneath and just remind myself what I did so that I can see it. Okay, we've got two that go up here. And these stitches are so teeny tiny because that's the only way to fit them all in there. You know, there's a bar tack right here. There was a thicker one going up, yep. Okay, and then there was the J stitch coming around here. I mean, truly, if I measured how many of these per inch, I feel like I'm even more than I was on that stitching exercise. which today is, I'm recording this on Friday. I haven't graded that stitching exercise yet. I guess I need to do that today. Okay. Okay, let me cut. There's a rivet, and then there's 2 rows of stitches. And then I need a bar tack and some stitches up each side of my belt loops. Okay, and then there's also stitches right here under the yoke, which extend from the back. The belt loop, I'm sorry, the waistband has 2 rows of stitches as well. And that'll go all the way across the front. And then it has a single row up at the top. And let's go ahead and put that on the inside as well. This is technically a chain stitch, so it does look a tiny bit different, but we'll just represent it with a single row of stitches. You know, if there was concern that people might be confused, it would be in the tech pack or the technical packet that goes with the garment, but you can also always annotate it. Seams have special like there's a whole language that goes with what seam to use for things that you could call it out as well. Okay, you guys get the idea. Oh, let me put the buttonhole in here because that's something people tend to forget. Put a little buttonhole. When you do buttonholes, it's really important to notice what direction they go also, because there are rules about that. Okay, let me see if I can get these little stitches. Okay, that's, I think, okay. I'm going to go ahead and pause there just because this video is getting a little long, but just to review, everybody, you want to use your 05, where did it go? Your thick pen for the silhouette only, your 005 for stitching, and then your 02 for kind of all the stuff in between. And that's what the same rules will follow for everything. Okay, so go ahead and ink these. You're going to also ink the blue t-shirt after making any corrections to your pencil flats, and then you can submit those. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you in the next video.